Hey guys, at Horror Critic here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the top films of 2013. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But first, I'd like to make some honorable mentions. Pain and Game. This was a Michael Bay movie that I really enjoyed. It had some interesting characters. Mark Wahlberg was in it, and The Rock was in it, and they did a great job. Um, Star Trek Into Darkness. Um, Benedict Cumberbatch from the British Sherlock Holmes series, was in this movie as Khan. The characters were all great. It goes well if you're just a plain Star Trek fan, and it was a really entertaining movie. And you know, there were a lot of tough choices to be on this list, and I really thought this was going to be on the list, but there were so many good movies near the end of this year that I just couldn't fit it on here. And this is The End, which I also thought would be on here. It's a great comedy movie. It's got Jonah Hill. It's got Seth Rogen. It's like very meta because all the actors are playing themselves in an apocalyptic scenario, and I really liked it. But starting off the list at number 10 is Oblivion. It stars Tom Cruise. It's an interesting science fiction film. I'm a sucker for Tom Cruise movies. I'm a big fan of him. He's my favorite actor. And whenever I watched this, I was like, well, okay, Tom Cruise, I'm gonna like it. And whenever I came out of it, I noticed the score was very similar to the Hans Zimmer Dark Knight movies. But I really liked this movie quite a bit. I like the science fiction elements about it. When I first saw the previews, I thought it'd be decent. I didn't figure it'd be too good, but I really enjoyed it. Um, Number 9, The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Okay, now I don't think The Hunger Games was on my list for last year, and while I did enjoy The Hunger Games, this movie was actually better than the first one, in my opinion, anyways. The ending was a little hokey. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The very end felt a little rushed, but I liked the movie, honestly. Everybody did a good job again. Josh Hutcherson did good. Jennifer Lawrence did a good job. Woody Harrelson, I don't know why, he's like one of the best parts of these movies. He's good in his role, and this movie is a lot more high stakes than the first one. The characters have all went through changes, and you can tell that they have. And just overall, I really enjoyed The Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Number 8, The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug. Now, again, The Hobbit was an honorable mention on my first year, or well, last year's year in review. And so with this year, I went into this one, and I don't know if I liked the first one more or less than this one, but I really enjoyed this movie. And part of the reason I enjoyed it was Smaug, which I think is voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch from Star Trek and Sherlock. The dragon is so cool, and I can't remember the name of the man who plays. It's Martin something who plays Bilbo. Love him. He's a great actor, and he's perfect for that role. And I'm really glad that I'm getting to see all these movies. They're a little on the long side, but they're Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, they're obviously going to be long. Let's see. Legolas was in this movie, and a lot of people complained about that, but he was just being really cool, and I thought it was really good. So yeah. Number 7, The Conjuring. We had a good horror movie this year. It didn't seem like there were any horror movies on my last year countdown, and this year I was surprised to see James Wan made some good movies this year, and The Conjuring was definitely a good one. Uh, it went back to more old style scary movie, like suspense. It wasn't like it would fake you out and then it would get you, and it didn't go for jump scares all the time. And whenever I watched it, I think I watched it the day it came out in a packed theater, which albeit was kind of annoying because people were talking. They were screaming a lot, and I really enjoyed it, honestly, and I'm glad I got to see it. So Yeah. Number 6, American Hustle. You may be surprised that this is not higher on my list. Whenever I watched this movie, I came in a little late, and I'm not putting it any lower just because I came in late. I got a general gist of what the first like 3 minutes were about, anyways. I did rather enjoy American Hustle. I like the way it ended. Bradley Cooper's good. Christian Bale is great. Jennifer Lawrence is pretty good. Robert De Niro was in this movie, which you didn't see a whole lot of his character. Jeremy Renner was probably the best part of the movie. I would say the best part of the movie. There were a lot of funny moments in this movie, and a lot of people said that this movie was really funny, and I agree, but it wasn't as funny as some more movies that were going to be up on my list. But I really enjoyed American Hustle. Number 5, The World's End. So this is the end of the trilogy by Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost, and wow, it ends really well. I really liked Hot Fuzz. I love Shaun of the Dead. It's one of my favorite zombie movies ever. So coming to this one, I was like, well, this is not going to beat Shaun of the Dead. And leaving this, I said, well, this is not going to beat Shaun of the Dead. But I do like it better than Hot Fuzz. The World's End, I thought it was really good. I really like Simon Pegg. I really, really like Simon Pegg. He's a great actor. Nick Frost is great in this movie. I just like the premise, how they're like taking over this town, and they're going from pub to pub, and they've got to stop them. And they all have interesting looks and interesting characters, and their characters go through like the Nick Frost character at the beginning of the movie doesn't really want to talk to Simon Pegg's character because of incidents that had happened in the past, but then they end up getting back their friendship towards the movie. It's really really good movie, and I'm both glad that this is a good movie that ends their trilogy, but I'm also sad that that is the end of their trilogy because they were all good movies. So The World's End. Number 4, The Iceman. Now I know I haven't seen this movie be on anybody's list yet, and that's kind of surprising because The Iceman was a great crime drama movie. Michael Shannon did a fantastic job as the Iceman. I loved him in this movie. And Chris Evans was in this movie as well. And he did a really good job as his character, too. He was really crazy in this movie. But he did this character that was really cool, too. And James Franco was in this movie for a short period of time as well. So that was interesting. But, the Iceman, it boils down to it being like, you kind of feel bad for Michael Shannon's character, the Iceman, because he kind of just he kind of had to do this, and after a long time doing his job of being like a assassin, pretty much, he starts to change, and he gets a lot more angry, and you can see that in some of the scenes, like a scene where he's driving his car, and he kind of gets in a road rage incident, and he takes it a little too far. And then later, him and his wife argue at the house, So you can tell that what he's doing is definitely changing him. So The Iceman, great movie. Number 3, The Place Beyond the Pines. Yeah, I know it didn't get very favorable reviews. I mean, it got pretty decent reviews, but some people didn't like The Place Beyond the Pines. I did. Act 1 and 2 were great. Act 1 was amazing. Act 2 was great. Act 3 was it brought the movie down a little, but I still really enjoy it. And Act 1 just steals the entire show. Act 1 is Ryan Gosling's part in the movie, where he's pretty much the main character of the movie for his act. And I really enjoy it. I really like Ryan Gosling's performances in a lot of his movies. And in this movie, I thought he did a really good job. And honestly, it had a lot of emotional feel to it, because the character of Ryan Gosling was really sympathetic, and also so was the character of Bradley Cooper. Like, you felt both sides, where they were coming from. Now, whenever Act 3 got there and you heard a little about these kids, I mean, I didn't care as much, but I sort of was invested, especially in Dane Dawn's character. who was Ryan Gosling's son. I thought he did a pretty good job in this movie. Bradley Cooper's character, or Bradley Cooper's kid in the movie, I didn't really like. But overall, I thought The Place Beyond the Pines was a great movie, and it was well worthy of my number 3 spot. Number 2, okay, Mud. I thought Mud was going to be my number 1, and Mud is pretty serious. It's like a coming of age story. These two kids go to an island near where they live. They just go out there because they see a boat that's in these trees. And they go in the boat, they figure out that somebody's been recently living there, and they meet Mud. He's this guy, and he's played by Matthew McConaughey. And Mud is like, just hanging out here. He's like, yeah, I'm waiting for my girlfriend to get into town, and we're going to wait so we can go because there's these bounty hunters that are trying to kill him. So that's what the movie's about. It goes along at a good pace. I think it's a decently long movie, but I really enjoyed it. Matthew McConaughey's performance was spot on excellent, just like last year's Killer Joe. Matthew McConaughey has been killing it. And I've heard Dallas Buyer Club was also supposed to be good, but I didn't get to see that. So, bam, Matthew McConaughey is just killing it. Love his character in this movie. And the bounty hunters were all interesting. The characters were cool. The kids, you know, sometimes kids don't do a very good job acting. The kids in this movie were great. It seems the acting was completely natural, like you would see in an actual person, especially since I'm from the South. You know, I see a lot of kids that actually act like the kids in Mud. So, I mean, I believe it takes place in Louisiana or something like that, because I know there's a lot of water swamps, because I know they live on like floating houses, which, you know, I thought were boat homes maybe. I really, really enjoyed Mud. It just had a feel like everybody was close, and, you know, just the story. The kid defends Mud a lot, even though Mud sometimes may not be the best of guys, and I just really, really liked it, but it's not number 1 on my list. So if you want to take a guess what my number 1 is, yeah, there you go. There was your time. Number 1, The Wolf of Wall Street, directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort. Wow. I went into this movie, I was thinking, yeah, this is going to be really good. This is probably not going to be Mud, but it's going to be good because Martin Scorsese, it's going to be good. Leonardo DiCaprio. He was great in Django Unchained last year. And my God, this man will not stop giving good performances, because in this movie, as Jordan Belfort, he plays this guy who is despicable. At first, he seems like a decent guy, but he's entered in the world of Wall Street, and then he's turned into a corrupt guy, because you have to be corrupt to play the Wall Street game. And by the end of this movie, he's so despicable, but you love his character. You love his character because they portray the characters in a comedic way. They're very likable, even though you know they're not good people. He takes a lot of drugs. He has a lot of sex with women who are, you know, he's got a wife. He still does it. You know, there's just a lot of bad stuff that's doing. Money laundering. He does a lot of illegal things in this movie, but you love his character. I would say all the way up until, like, actually, there was probably only at one point his character was going a little overboard for me. Like, just watching it, because I was so invested in his character that I thought he was a good guy, even though I knew that he was doing really bad things. And that's amazing that Leonardo DiCaprio can make such a despicable guy seem likable. And I think that was really what this movie was all about, is that this guy, even though he was doing such bad things, managed to attract so many hard-working people and so many people, and it took him so long to get caught because he was so good at what he did. And Jonah Hill's in this movie. You know, there's a lot of good talent in this movie, and it's not wasted. Everyone is excellent in this movie. They perform excellently. It's 3 hours long, and I know some of you may think that's a little long, because that is a little longer than The Hobbit, but you know what? It was worth it. Every minute was either hilarious or just I couldn't take my eyes off the movie, not for a second. It was great. And if you have not seen The Wolf of Wall Street, I recommend you see it very soon. And so that was my list of 2013. And hopefully 2014 will be better. I know there's supposed to be 2 Paranormal Activity movies. The first one is Paranormal Activity something, the marked ones, I think. Yeah. That looks bad. That's coming out in January, I think. I can't think of too many other movies that are coming out next year. I know 2015, that's going to be a huge year for movies. Hopefully 2014 is a good year. Hopefully it's even better, honestly. Uh, so yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. I'll be sure to hopefully put up some more reviews of some horror movies sometime. I don't know when. But thank you guys for watching. I just really felt like I should share my top picks for 2013. And see you later.